All right, so today we're going to talk about the parallelogram. A parallelogram is a quadrilateral, four-sided figure, with two pairs of parallel sides. So as you can see by my marking, the red marks tell me that those two sides are parallel with each other, along with the blue markings there tell me that those opposite sides are also parallel. All right, some different properties. So some properties you need to know about parallelograms are that a parallelogram is a polygon with four sides and four angles, and the sum of the interior angles are 360 degrees. And the sum of the exterior angles is also 360 degrees. Now, some additional properties that are very important. A parallelogram has both pairs of opposite sides parallel. So if I were to put in here AB, A, that was kind of cool, C, and D. All right, so what that says is that AB is parallel to side CD. And I should put that up top because those are different sides. Okay, now, next, a parallelogram has both pairs of opposite sides congruent. Now that's very important. So if I were again to put in A, B, C, and D, because I think that helps, well, AB, or side AB, is congruent to side CD. And BC, side BC, sorry about that, I don't like that, that's a little messy. So side BC is congruent to side AD. Now, a parallelogram has both pairs of opposite angles congruent. All right, so once again, angle A is congruent to angle C. And angle B is congruent to angle D. All right, these are all very, very important parts of the parallelogram that are going to come into play, especially when we start talking about your favorite word, proofs. Okay, now, a parallelogram has consecutive angles that are supplementary. So we know that these two angles here are going to add up to 180 degrees. A parallelogram has diagonals that bisect each other. That's very important. So that's my diagonal, the blue line, and then also the red line. Well, the blue line bisects the red line, and the red line bisects the blue line. Now, something important, it doesn't mean that the two diagonals are congruent. It just means that they bisect each other, meaning that it's broken up into two congruent parts. And lastly, a parallelogram has diagonals that divide a parallelogram into two congruent triangles. So my diagonal here is going to divide this parallelogram into two congruent triangles. And that's important. So the red triangle is going to be congruent to the blue triangle. Okay, let's go to the next page. All right, example 1 says, two diagonals which meet at point T are drawn on, and that's a symbol for, parallelogram HJES. The length of HJ is 11. The sum of the total lengths of diagonals HE and JS is 38. The length of HT is 8.5. What is the length of JS? So what I've done is I've already started by drawing my parallelogram. All right, now I need to put in my vertices. Now, something really important. when you're putting in your letters or your vertices, it's very important that you go either clockwise or counterclockwise around the figure. All right, don't mix it up. So I always like to start in the corner, the left-hand corner. And I will go H, J, E, and then S. Now, I just call that around the horn. I start at one point, go around the horn with my letters. I think that's very important. Okay, now, it says that I have HJ is 11, so I'm going to fill that in. And then my diagonals are HE, so I'm going to draw that, and JS, and I'm going to draw that one. And you should do the same. And it says that they meet at T. I'll give that a different color, point T. Okay, the information I'm given is that HJ is 11. I put that in there already. Sorry, HT is 8.5. Okay, so there are a couple of different ways of approaching this. But the thing I'm going to do is, since I know that HT is 8.5, and I know that the diagonals of a parallelogram bisect each other, then I'm going to fill in that ET is also 8.5. Okay, I know that the sum of HE and JS is 38. So I know the sum is 38. I know that equals, well, JS is what I'm looking for. That's going to be plus, well, I'm going to add the two together, so I'm going to have 17. So I pretty much have a simple equation that I need to solve. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just subtract 17 to both sides, and I know that x equals 21. Now, so that's my JS. If I want to, or if you feel like you want to, you can fill in what JT and ST is. Well, you should get 10.5 for both. Okay, let's go to number 2. Example 2 says, in parallelogram TREN, a diagonal RN is drawn. Let's do that right away. Actually, let's go around the horn. T, R, E, N. And then now I'm going to draw my diagonal RN. And it says the measure of angle REN. So I like to follow REN. Okay, is 66 degrees. And the measure of RNE is 63. What is the measure of RNT? RNT. So I'm looking for this measure right here. Number of different ways of approaching this problem. All right, again, one of the properties of a parallelogram is that the diagonal splits it up into two congruent triangles. So let's go to my highlighter. Yellow should work. All right, I have this triangle here. I know that, let's see, back to pen. I know that the two angles of the triangle are 66 and 63. And if I just do some simple math, I know that this angle here has to be 51 degrees. Because the sum of the measures of the triangle have to equal 180 degrees. Now, I know that these sides are parallel. So I know this line RN is a transversal. So if this angle is 51, then I know the alternate interior angle needs to be Let's go purple. 51 degrees. Okay, now I can continue filling in if I want. All right, I can use that same theory of 63. All right, so if this angle here is 63 that was given to me, the alternate interior angle has to be 63. And then I can, again, use simple math to figure out what the angle T here is. That's 66. I know opposite angles of a parallelogram are congruent, so I know that has to be 66. You can add up all the angles to make sure that you get 360. There are, again, many different approaches to finding this problem. And as long as you stick with the properties of a parallelogram, you're absolutely fine. Okay, now what I want you to do is write down some key ideas. There's definitely some very good key ideas that you need to write down so that we can approach our problems in class tomorrow. And of course, go Cats, go Knights.